Good afternoon, foodies. Welcome to Foodies Live, streaming live from the SubZero showroom kitchen in Scottsdale, Arizona. Today I'm joined by Miss Susie Tim of Girl Meets Fork. And in the kitchen we have Chef Christopher Constantino of Constantino's Kitchen. And he's going to demonstrate Braciole Saltimbooca with grilled polenta and tiramisu. Kind of a mouthful, but delicious, I'm sure. And if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat room or on Twitter or Facebook, and we'll relay them to the chef. So with that, I'll kick it over to Chef Constantino.
Thank you, Beth. My name is Christopher Constantino with Constantino's Kitchen. We're a local company here in Arizona. We do pasta sauce, garlic oil, spice rubs, that kind of stuff, available to the general public. Today I'm going to do a combination dish. I love Braciole, I love veal saltimbooca, so I've kind of combined them into one dish. So it's really, really good. And we start with some flank steak or round steak, whichever you like. This is not the time when you bring out your $50 a pound Kobe filet mignons. It's cheap cuts because it's going to braise for long periods of time, so don't waste your money on expensive cuts. So we're going to start by pounding. I've already kind of pounded a little bit, but I get one of these meat mallets. Works great for this type of thing. It's also a good way to vent some frustrations. So we're going to do this on both sides. And then also one thing I like, and these are actually relatively inexpensive. If you don't have one, you can use a fork, but looks like a medieval torture device, but it's actually great for putting holes in the meat, which also helps to tenderize it.
What is the technical name of that?
What is the technical name? I don't know. The hole puncher. Medieval torture device, hole puncher. And so then on top of that, we're going to put a little pepper and a little salt. I like to use the Himalayan pink salt.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of better flavor than just like iodized salt. Or
Where did you get that salt, Chris?
that one, I actually got that container at Costco.
I didn't know they had it there.
Me neither.
Yeah, they have them with the grinder already attached.
Nice.
So then we're going to put a layer of probably my favorite protein, prosciutto. This is another case where you don't necessarily want to bring out your $40 a pound San Danielle, just the cheap stuff. This I got at Costco. There's a theme here, I think. But you want a layer of that, as thick or as thin as you'd like. If you like prosciutto, add more. If you don't like prosciutto or for some reason can't find it, you could always use ham. But prosciutto is pretty easy to find. You can even find it in regular grocery stores nowadays. So you want to make a little place at the bottom, which will be the top in a second, that doesn't have any because it makes it a lot easier to roll it up. So the next layer is going to be cheese. I choose fontina, but you could use mozzarella, you could use provolone, whatever you like. I just happen to really like the flavor of fontina cheese. So we're going to put that down. That's our next layer.
Chef, we have a question from Kevin. He wanted to know, can you use a different type of meat other than the flank steak or for saltimbooca?
Yeah, you could use some kind of pork. Again, don't want to use anything too expensive, but like a pork loin you could pound. I'd probably butterfly it and then pound it.
Oh, okay.
Something like that would work. Or you could use veal, because I mean the traditional veal saltimbooca is made with veal. So you could do this with veal and then just braise it in the sauce like we're going to do.
Oh, okay.
Would work really great. So then we're going to turn this around so that the part without any stuff is at the top. Oh, nope, forgot the sage, sorry. Next step is sage, one of my favorite herbs. Sage and basil are two of my favorite herbs. So we want a layer of sage on the top. These are just fresh sage leaves.
Chef, when do you decide whether to use fresh or dried herbs?
Good question.
I typically like to use fresh whenever possible. The good rule of thumb is if it's going to cook for long periods of time, then dried is fine. If it's something that you're going to do, like you don't want to put sprinkled dried herbs on the top of a dish as a garnish, then you definitely want fresh.
Got it.
But I try to do fresh whenever possible. I have an herb garden at home where I have basil, I have sage, I have rosemary, all my favorites. So then we're going to roll it up, and as you can see, it kind of moves to that corner, or to that end, so that's why we wanted a little bit of emptiness there. Roll them both up, and then I got some butcher's twine, which you can get at your local restaurant supply store. It's fairly easy. And we'll put a couple of strings down. Put our braciole on top. And just tie the sucker up. We do what is called a surgeon's knot, where you go over once and then over again. So that gives you a nice tight knot. And then tie off the top, just a normal knot. Same thing on the other side. You want it tight enough to hold it into place, but not so tight that it's going to squeeze all your filling out of it.
Do you have to go to culinary school to learn to tie that knot?
No.
Good for us.
Like I said, it's a surgeon's knot, so technically you got to go to medical school. But
Chef, where did the term Braciole and then Saltimbooca, what do those mean?
Saltimbooca is just literally means jump in the mouth. And the original dish, which is basically the same thing, only a little bit different type of sauce, and it's usually not rolled. It's usually done like a the veal, and then you put a layer of prosciutto and cheese, and then just kind of saute it that way, and serve it with a marsala sauce, which is actually a really good dish in itself. But I prefer to do this combination where I've added my sauce to it. So then we're just going to cut off the excess string. We don't want them bothering us. And I got a saute pan over here warming up. So what we're going to do, once we get this all done, give it a little coat of salt and pepper on the outside.
So can you, Chef, debunk for us for maybe the millionth time? It's not, salt is not evil, correct?
No, definitely not.
Nope.
Salt, I mean, if you can taste the salt in the food, then it can be too salty. But salt is designed to bring out the flavors. So there are certain flavors in food that salt helps to bring out. I mean, even a lot of pastry chefs use salt. Wow, that's hot. Use salt in there, just a little pinch of salt in their dishes.
Yeah, I've heard it can bring out the flavor of chocolate or caramel. And that's one of the reasons salted caramel is such a popular flavor combination.
Hugely popular nowadays, yeah. So yeah, this burner's a little bit better than mine, so it's got a little warm, cool it down a little bit. Add a little bit of, I just use a combination canola oil, extra virgin olive oil. No need to use the expensive olive oil when you're sauteing. And we're going to get a big sear, because this is hot.
Oh.
Yeah, not too hot, that's good.
Love that noise.
Yes, isn't that great? Favorite noise in the kitchen. So we're going to sear that on all four sides, just to get a nice crust on it, to get us started out. Then we'll move it into our pan. I'm going to put a layer of pasta sauce, which is my pasta sauce, of course, on the bottom of our pan. My hands are all greasy, so I can't get the lid off.
So tell us, Chef, a little bit about your pasta sauce.
Well, this recipe has been in my family for over 5 generations. Tomato basil is the flavor that we have right now. We're working on other flavors, but that's the one we have right now. It's just something my grandma taught me, and she learned it from her grandma. And it's just something I grew up on. Christmas dinners, we had that with the raviolis, or we had pasta, we had gnocchi, everything you could think of with this sauce.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Just brings back good memories of my childhood.
Yeah.
I like it.
So we'll give that a couple minutes.
If you didn't wrap it tightly enough, would the contents just fall out, or does it shrink when you
It will shrink a little bit. As you see, I have one already finished. It does shrink a little bit. It won't shrink too much because there's not a lot of fat in this type of meat.
Oh,
So
okay.
like if you get a nice big burger that's full of fat, it tends to shrink a lot because all the fat comes out of it. And that's why you get shrinkage.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
All right, that looks good. We got 2 sides done. I'm gonna get rid of this stuff, clean up my station. I like to clean as I go. Just set this over here for a second, get out of our way. I got people to clean that later.
You've got people, huh?
I wish. All right, one more little turn. As you can see, they're nice and caramely.
Nice.
Smells delicious.
I mean, yeah, frankly, cheese wrapped in meat. I'm kind of a fan.
Not a bad combo.
Not a bad combo.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely, and each one of these are about a half a pound of meat, so you could serve one hungry person like me, or each one of these will serve two.
Oh,
Technically,
okay.
this recipe serves 4, but depends on how hungry you are.
Yeah.
All right, once we're sauteed, or once we're browned, we're gonna put them into our sauce. We're gonna deglaze our pan. Now we get a little more of that fun sound. I turned it down so it's not that much, but deglaze the pan a little bit.
Deglaze just basically means pour in something to take all the good bits off the bottom.
Exactly.
Got it.
When you get all those good bits off the bottom, let it reduce. Now I'm gonna crank it. What?
What are you using to deglaze?
I'm just using white wine. I like to buy it in these little tiny bottles. They're great for cooking.
Oh,
I don't get cooking wine because cooking wine has salt added to it. I like to control my own salt. But I get them in the little bottles, just in your regular grocery store. You can use it as much as you want. You're not wasting a whole bottle just for this little tiny bit. I'll use that tonight for risotto at my house or something. So let that reduce a little bit over a very high heat. Meanwhile, we'll put the rest of the sauce over the top of the bracioles. And you want a good thick sauce. You don't want something that's too runny. That's what I like about my family sauce, is it's nice and thick. So let's reduce a little bit. Got all that good fond, what the French call fond, off the bottom, which is what the point of reducing. Now we're just going to pour that in here. Over the top.
I'm like, let's make that tonight.
What?
I just said, let's make that tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Cover it with aluminum foil. And we're going to go in the fridge, the oven, for about an hour and a half. And we want every 30 minutes, take it out, turn it, baste it a little bit, and then put it back in. So let's get that to the oven. And that's a 350 oven, by the way.
350.
So let me get rid of this, and we'll go wash my hands, get all the raw beef off my hands.
Good call. Chef, what other types of products do you currently make?
I'm sorry?
What other types of products do you currently make?
Sauce is our main product. We also have some garlic oils that we're selling, and then we have spice rubs, which the spice rubs, when I do the salad, we'll get into the spice rubs. So that's very good. There's an Italian herb blend, there's a chicken one good for chicken and fish, and there's also one for steak and hamburgers, stuff like that.
Where can people buy them?
I have a few stores in town that are carrying it. You can get off my website. There's a lot of farmers markets we're doing right now. Mesa on Friday, Mesa Farmers Market. On Saturday we do Central and Northern and Roadrunner. And then on Sunday we do Ahwatukee. As far as grocery stores, we have Tom's Thumb up right in this area, North Scottsdale. We have Sphinx State Ranch down in South Scottsdale. We have Tempe Farmers Market, which is near the university. And then we have Power Road Farmers Market out in East Mesa. So those are the 4 stores. And then we're also part of Chow Locally. I don't know if you're familiar with them. When you can go in there and you get your vegetables, you can also add other stuff too, like my sauce.
Very nice.
So let's see, the next ingredient we're going to do will be our grilled polenta. So we're going to start by making the polenta. We have half and half cup of milk and a cup of water. We're going to get that over high heat, bring it to a boil, a little pinch of salt.
Chef, I noticed in your recipe you said you could use milk or water. Mm-hmm. Does that change the moisture level of the polenta at all?
Nothing, but just more of the creaminess.
Okay.
Makes it a little bit better. If you use 100% milk, I think it's a little too much. So I use half and half, or if I don't have milk, it's just fine with just water.
Oh, okay.
But the half and half is my favorite way of doing it. So we're going to bring that to a boil. Meanwhile, we need to get our pan ready because we're going to press it into a pan. This will be our mold. So since we don't want it sticking to the side of our pan, we want it to actually come out. We're going to spray a little bit of Pam and get that ready to go.
Chef, have you ever heard of somebody making polenta in a crock pot?
Interesting.
Okay. I'd like to rescind
Interesting.
my question.
That's it. I mean, I guess you could if you want. I mean, because this polenta I actually don't cook for very long, because I just press it and then we grill it later on. But like the polenta my grandma used to make, it was soft, and we'd serve our sauce with like stew meat in it, and serve that over the top, and it was more mushy like grits and softer than that.
Oh, yum.
And she'd cook it over the stove at first, and then she just discovered the magic of the microwave and switched to that, which wasn't incredibly traditional, but it worked. So that was a long cooking one. If you get a finer polenta, then you get, it doesn't take quite as long to cook. A finer cornmeal is basically what you're using, this brown, yellow cornmeal. So now we're just waiting for the thing to boil. Get rid of this too, these are dirty.
Waiting for the old pot to boil.
Yep, a watched pot never boils, but an unwatched pot boils over, right?
Yes.
That's what they always say. So let's get this out. So we're going to start with a whisk, but then it's going to, as you'll see, it's going to thicken up real fast, and the whisk will be useless in a matter of seconds. And we'll switch to a spatula. Just try to stir this. In the meantime, take this out of here and get rid of this. Clean as we go while we're waiting.
So we're gonna grill that, and well, you're gonna grill it. We're just gonna sit here.
We might eat it.
Yeah. Do you have to be careful with it falling apart or crumbling on the grill?
If you press it into the pan hard enough, no, you won't have to worry about that.
Oh, okay.
As you see when we bring it out, that it'll work well.
Okay.
While we're waiting for that to go, let's work on our salad. What I like to do is kind of fun way to serve the salad is I'll take a sheet pan with a silpat, which is a silicone mat to keep it from sticking, and make little Parmesan cups. So we start by getting a couple piles of Parmesan cheese.
Parmesan cups.
Yes.
Wow.
Which I'll show you, and so we'll just kind of spread them out so they're about that big. I mean, you can do as many as you're doing. I'm just going to do a couple right now. Spread them out, make sure they're still touching. Try to get them as close to round as possible. And then these are going to go into a 400-degree oven. They're going to melt into like a disc, which is pliable the minute you take it out of the oven, but then hardens really fast. So we're going to form it into a cup that we're going to put our salad into. So let's stick
Nice.
that in our oven.
Can we use that for lots of things? Like, I don't know, a chili bowl or something?
Yeah, you can. I've seen them too. Just so I don't forget about it, let me set a timer. I don't want burnt twills.
Oh, yes.
They're called twills, what they are. I've seen them also where you can just take them, make little small ones, and then just like stick them into something as like a garnish, or as like instead of a cracker, instead of a cookie, serve them alongside a soup, something like that. When I was at the Fancy Food Show in DC a few weeks ago, there was one company that's all they did is they made different flavors of Parmesan crisps. They packaged them and sold them that way.
Wow.
Which I thought was very clever.
So it's a carb-friendly cracker, essentially.
Yes, exactly. Carb friendly, not exactly low fat, but that's okay. They're small, so. Okay, so now we're getting to where it's almost boiling.
Do you spell twills Tuilles?
Tuilles, yeah, exactly.
Check out my knowledge of the French language right
Very
there.
good.
Hey.
All right, we are almost to a boil here. So what we want to do, give it another second, then we're going to slowly whisk in our cornmeal. And by slowly, the reason why we go slowly is because we don't want big clumps. Like same thing when you add flour to hot things, you get clumps if you. Oh yeah, now it's boiling.
So speaking
All
of
right,
slow.
let's turn this down. Yeah, it went from slow to boiling over. So again, whisk, add, whisk, add. There we go. Turn it up too much. So you can see getting thick, and you want to leave this for about 15-20 minutes. I mean, that could be why a crock pot would be a good thing. Because you can see it's getting thick. It's already a little too thick for our whisk, so we're going to switch over to a spatula. And this is where you want to be careful, because when it starts bubbling like that, that's like molten lava jumping on your skin. That would be a bad thing.
So you can get different grit levels of the cornmeal and make different types of polenta? Or? Exactly.
You can get very fine. I usually use fine. This one's a little bit coarser than what I normally use. But you can get all different kinds. The standard that you get in the regular grocery stores are normally fine. This I got at, I believe it was Sprouts. And so it's like an organic and a little coarser. But anyway, rather than watching me stir that, let's move on to another dish since I already have one of those done. We're going to go with the salad now. So we're going to start by adding your favorite vinegar. I like balsamic, so that's what I got. About a tablespoon. And then some of my Italian herb seasoning. And we're just going to let that kind of stir in there with the salad dressing. I'm going to go rinse off my whisk real quick. I'll be right back.
Chef, how did you come up with the infused oils and things like that?
The oils were developed by a good friend of mine, the guy that actually does my co-packing. He's the one that developed the recipes and is allowing me to sell them for him.
Oh, okay.
So they're a great combination with my products, and so that's why they work really well.
Are they meant more for finishing or to cook with?
They do have a little touch of canola oil, which raises the smoke point. They're not pure olive oil, so they can be cooked with. I wouldn't deep fry with it, but anything else, I saute with it. It's really, a lot of people I know don't like Brussels sprouts, but I like to just take Brussels sprouts, cut them in half, throw them in that, saute them, get them all caramelized, a little salt, makes an excellent side dish.
Sounds good to me.
But anything like that. So then while we whisk, we're going to add our extra virgin olive oil. And this is a case where this is, as you can probably, I don't know if you can tell in this container, but extra virgin olive oil is definitely what you want to use for this. Whereas when I was cooking, I was using the blend.
Oh, okay.
So there's our salad dressing, which we'll hold on till when we're ready to plate up the dish. Don't want to add the salad yet, or the lettuce yet, because then it'll get soggy, and that's not, as Alton Brown says, that's not good eats.
Not good eats.
So now we'll move on to dessert. I'm going to make my tiramisu. This is a much easier version than a traditional tiramisu. Traditional ones involve making a zabayon, dealing with sugar, and then the cracks, the stages, all that kind of stuff. It's a pain. This is very easy. We're going to start by taking a package of ladyfingers, which surprisingly are difficult to find in this town. AJ's carries them. A lot of Italian delis carry them, but most of the normal grocery stores do not.
Oh. Not a very cultured town, I guess.
Well, I mean, Fry's tell me they carry them only during Christmas time. So
Oh, okay.
I guess maybe they think people only make tiramisu at Christmas.
Not you Italian folk.
Oh, heck no. We make tiramisu for breakfast. No, just kidding.
That actually sounds good. I wouldn't turn it down.
Exactly. So we'll make a layer on the bottom. Let's see, we have to break some of the last ones to...
You're breaking fingers.
Breaking fingers.
It's the mafia in me. Whoops, that one I broke too much of, but that's all right. That's chef snack.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have a combination here of espresso and your favorite liqueur. Some tiramisu call for Kahlua, some call for just different things. I like amaretto. So this is amaretto and coffee. So it's good in a squeeze bottle because then you can just kind of squeeze them over the top and the lady fingers will soak it all up for you.
Tiramisu. Yeah.
Never have too much amaretto.
No.
So we'll move that to the side for right now and start mixing our filling, or our top.
Chef, I know you might say the answer to this is duh Italian, but do you have a cooking style? Is there something, you were telling us before the show, you really think, I can't think of the word, gosh. Anyway, what's your cooking style?
Well, I used to have a little catering company, and we coined a term Mediterranean. So Mediterranean and Asian. So those are my two favorites as far as ethnic cuisines are concerned.
Wow.
As Asian, I like Thai, I like Chinese, I like Japanese, all those kinds. Mediterranean, I love Greek food, French food, Italian food, Moroccan food. So anything in that area, anything in the Asian area.
Okay, I remembered it. Molecular gastronomy.
Oh, yes.
I was going to say gastroenterology, but I realized that would not be the right word.
I wonder what that is.
Yeah, molecular gastronomy.
Doctor that studies diseases of your intestines. Not the same thing. So molecular gastronomy. Sorry, continue.
Yes.
Got it.
That's kind of, a lot of people think it's a fad. I think it's really neat. It's a neat way to kind of create different things. Like Fernan Adria was kind of the pioneer of this in El Bulli in Spain. Unfortunately, it's no longer open, but he made incredible things. There's Grant Aschitz, something like that, in
Chicago.
Alinea in Chicago. Yep. There's a lot of pioneers of this technique that just make some really neat stuff, like spherification. Like I do one where I take carrot juice and make basically carrot caviar. They're little balls of carrot juice that the minute that they stay whole on your plate, but the minute you put them in your mouth, they pop, and it's just a really fun way to display things.
That's cool.
So here I've got my mascarpone cheese, teeny tiny bit of powdered sugar, and then we want about a cup of heavy cream. Yeah, it looks about right. So I'm going to mix this as best as you can, with preferably with a hand mixer, but you can also do it with once you get the mascarpone starting to break up, then it's going to be much better.
Did your grandmother used to make this for you?
No, actually, this is something that I discovered on my own. This isn't really a family recipe.
Oh, okay.
We didn't really do too much in dessert. She does make these really good cookies. Oh, that's the.
I already forgot about those things.
I know. Thank goodness you set the timer there.
All right. So now that they are done and spread, let's see, where can I put this? Set it over here.
It's the thing about these kitchens, there's not much counter space.
Yeah, I know. It's such a great kitchen, though. It's worth. So then I got a couple little cups, and what we're going to do is take them off while they are still pliable, and just kind of put them over. Oops, they cooled a little bit too much, but that's all right. Kind of form them into cups, and you got to get them real fast when you get them out. But
They smell good.
Oh, wow.
Nico agrees.
yeah, the idea is to form them into a cup. They got a little bit too cold, but that'll work. So then we want to mix this as best as possible. Like I said, a hand mixer or one of those stand mixers would work better, but we improvise. And then we're going to flavor this a little bit. I have same two ingredients. I have coffee in one, amaretto in the other. So we're going to add a little bit of each of those just to give the filling some good flavor.
That smells amazing, may I add. Good sir. Something smells amazing.
Amaretto?
I smell cheese, so.
Yes.
Oh, it's probably, exactly. So, okay, how are we doing on time?
Oh, we're good.
Okay. So I want to try to get all the lumps out of this as best as possible.
Cool.
So with the coffee, did you have to concentrate it, or can you use instant coffee, or did you have to brew it?
I have a Keurig, so I just brewed it from that. Just made 1 cup. That's all I needed for this. The stronger the better. I have a dark roast that I use. The traditional recipes call for espresso, but as strong as you want, because I'm not a huge coffee fan anyway, so I don't really care if it's overly coffee-y. Coffee flavored?
Coffee-y, the technical term.
All right, so once you get it all, you want it a little bit better than that. Like I said, a hand mixer would work better, but we're going to pour it over the lady fingers.
That looks
amazing.
in unison.
Yeah.
Who cares about the lumpy cheese?
Yeah,
I would
it's not
like
like
to.
it's something icky that's lumpy or something like that.
Lick the bowl. Hiko wants to lick the bowl, Chef.
Yeah.
All right, so we
He's
just want to make sure
ignoring
we
us.
spread it. And also, too, when you use an electric mixer, the cream will whip up a little thicker. So you get a little bit thicker of a layer, but this will work just fine.
We won't complain.
No. Not even for a moment.
And then the traditional garnish for tiramisu is cocoa powder.
You know, I sometimes see people do like shavings of chocolate and a whole
Oh,
bunch
that's
of...
coming.
Oh.
Oh.
Well. Pardon.
Cocoa pebbles.
What do you think about putting cocoa pebbles
Cocoa
on
pebbles.
it?
Why not?
Wouldn't surprise me to see a chef do that.
Right? They would call that the new thing. The it thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to stick that into the fridge. We want to let that chill for as long as possible. And then we have our, and as you can see, the polenta did get nice and thick. What we want to do with it is add a little pat of butter to it, mix it in, and then we're going to press it into our pan, refrigerate it till it's hard, like this, and then grab a cutting board, get rid of this stuff.
Chef, how far in advance can you make the polenta?
You can bake it at the beginning of the morning if you're having or even maybe the night before.
Oh, okay.
Just keep it covered in the fridge so it doesn't pick up any. So then we're going to turn it over, and if our pan worked well, it should be coming out.
Wow. That was like an angry polenta removal.
All right, so then we just want to cut it into really whatever shape you want. I mean, you could do triangles, you could do squares. If you have a biscuit cutter, you could do it into circles. Really, it's up to you. So let's see, what am I going to do today? I guess we'll go into triangles. That'd be kind of fun. So we'll just do one portion right now. I got a preheated grill over here, and I'm just going to toss these on. It's already cooked, so really we just want heat it back up, and we want grill marks.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
really all we're looking for. Might as well do a couple of them. And you can do this with potatoes for people that don't like polenta. Like when I was a kid, I couldn't stand the stuff. Hate to admit it, but
Oh, really?
the way we served it, just mushy over sauce, I wasn't a big fan of that. Now I like it. I've appreciated it.
It's interesting how as kids we have certain preconceived notions. I know for me I've changed my texture. I've always had issues with certain food textures, but
Yeah.
as an adult I've gotten over that.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I would agree, polenta, oatmeal, things like that I've always been
Well, I hate to admit this on the internet, but when I was a kid, I used to like the Chef Boyardee raviolios.
Oh, I love those too. Beefaroni.
And now just the smell of them makes me sick.
Wow. Well, you were a kid, so
Yeah.
you're allowed.
Okay, that's good. All right, so now we got our braciole, which by the magic of television, or the internet as the case may be, it's been cooking for
Live internet.
an hour and a half.
That was a quick hour and a half.
Yeah, flew by.
Time flies when you're having fun. And
It does.
there they are.
Wow.
So we'll take one of them out. Maybe roll it around in the sauce a little bit.
Is live internet regulated by the FCC?
I don't know. I guess we'll find
So I
out
would like to
soon.
stop. I would like to start swearing over how amazing this looks, but I won't. I won't. You'll never have me back.
In a Ron Burgundy voice.
Beep. It looks so beeping good. Yeah, that looks awesome.
All right, so we're gonna start. Let's grab a plate.
Wow. Did you take the string off yet?
Not yet.
No, but you're going to.
Oh yeah.
Put
Ow,
the
that's still
string.
hot.
We'll put it back.
Definitely, we don't want to add that much fiber to the dinner.
Right.
So let's clear us off a little space here. The messy chef. All right. So we got theoretically a cup. Think of that as a cup. And we got a little bit of some greens.
Kind of like tortilla shells.
Yeah, I know. It kind of ended up that way, but put our greens in here and toss them with our dressing. Those are going to go in the quote-unquote cup. And in restaurants, they say height sells, so the higher you can get it, the more you can charge for it.
Ah. Good to know. Probably impresses your house guests too.
That too, yes. All right, oops, still want to give those a couple more minutes. They're warming up, getting some marks, but not all that I want. But we are going to find my scissors. And just to make Susie happy, we'll cut this twine off.
Thanks. When did you decide that you wanted to become a chef, or just really knew you were so passionate? Have you always loved cooking so much?
I have always loved cooking, even in the days before Food Network when there was not a lot of cooking shows. Jan Can Cook, I remember, The Frugal Gourmet, and what was the other,
yeah.
Graham Care. Those are the kind of shows I used to always love to watch. But then it was in 2002 that I decided I wanted to go to culinary school. So in 2003, I did.
Nice.
So let's see, let's wait to cut that until our stuff's done. All right, give that another minute or two and we're good to go. Okay, while we're waiting for that, let's chop up some garnish.
Chef, with the polenta, can you over grill it or dry it out on the grill if you cook it too much?
You can burn it just like grilling anything else. I just want grill marks. I don't want it charred, horribly charred or anything like that. So, got a couple leaves of basil. This is a culinary school technique. You roll it up and do what's called a chiffonade.
I always feel fancy when I do that cut.
Chiffonade.
They say it prevents the basil from being bruised,
Oh,
so
really?
it doesn't turn black on you. That's the reason why you do it this way. And the sharper the knife, the better.
Well, there you have it.
You basically end up with little ribbons like that.
Looks pretty too.
All right, I'm saying the polenta is done. Yeah, got some nice grill marks on it. Whoa, there's a heat differentiation on this grill, so we'll go with the ones that are a little bit darker, which I like the looks of them better. So we're going to arrange this any way you like. And then on the top, we're going to put the braciole. Let's see. For presentation purposes, we'll get rid of the "and." That's the chef's cut.
Chefs get cuts and snacks.
That's right.
Yes.
It's good to be chef.
Dear God.
Whoa, look at that.
So good.
Yes, please.
Susie's gonna start cussing over here.
Okay, I won't. The temptation is there.
Uh-oh. My bowl's getting in my way. That's all right. There we go. And then just a little bit of sauce over the top.
Nice.
Yum.
Yowza.
And our basil garnish.
That looks amazing.
The peanut gallery thinks it looks like sexy meat. I would agree.
There we go. There's dinner.
Sexy meat. Oh,
Nice.
all right.
Rawr.
Now let me get this out of the way and let's grab dessert.
Dang.
Look at that.
Hasn't had as much time to set up as I would like, so hopefully we should be okay.
What will happen to us?
No, nothing will happen to you. It just might not
Oh, you
set
mean
up
the
to a nice
tiramisu. I
perfect
thought you-
cut. Oh no,
I thought you meant the meat. I'm like, what's gonna happen? I'm dying to hear.
you're gonna be poisoned.
Ooh.
So
That
let's
doctor
see.
you mentioned earlier might have to come inspect.
So this you want to serve just like a cake, or yeah. See the lady fingers aren't quite as soft as I would like, but it's all right. So a little bit thinner than I'd like to, but it looks good. It's still going to taste great.
Yeah.
That's
Let me
all
go
that matters.
wash my knife real quick and my hands so I can start shaving the chocolate.
Chocolate. You know, you mentioned going to a fancy food show, and I may have been a time or two myself. I might have even been there with you. Who knows? But that's just amazing. The question I have is, you know, there's so many different types of chocolate, and at that show, it's everywhere.
There
There's
is.
chocolate from different countries. I've never seen so much chocolate. Is there a specific type of chocolate you like a lot? Is there, you know, there's chocolate with 20% fat, chocolate with, I mean, there's just so many different types. Is there a kind that you really think works well for garnish or baking or
Yeah,
whatever?
it depends on what I'm doing it for. Like if I'm going to eat chocolate, not a big fan of dark chocolate. I know it's healthier for you, but I like to eat milk chocolate when I'm just eating out of hand. For garnishing a dish like this, however, I use dark chocolate. Like this one's 72. You can go higher if you want. I find the higher ones tend to be a little too bitter for me.
Okay.
So
okay.
72 is usually fine for me. Whatever brand, I like the Ghirardelli's. It's a good American company. So in culinary school, we had blocks the size of that pan that I had here. I mean,
Wow.
giant blocks of chocolate. It was much easier to scrape off of a huge block than this little tiny block, but we're gonna make it work. So basically what we want to do is take your knife and just basically scrape.
So this is as opposed to like shaving?
Well,
Why does
see,
it look like you might be like ready to slice yourself open?
yeah, you got to be careful. See, it is kind of the shaving though, if you look
Oh,
at
okay,
it,
okay.
how it comes out.
Oh, wow.
So that's
like,
basically your,
that is fancy.
there's dessert for us.
Nice.
And I got a lot of leftovers for the staff here. So.
All right.
Super.
Very nice.
Yay. Thank you.
We all appreciate that.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much for demonstrating. That was a lot of work, but
My pleasure.
we'll reap the rewards.
Yes. Direct beneficiaries, I think.
Yes.
Exactly.
So go check out, is it Constantino?
Constantino'sKitchen.com. On Twitter, we're Constantino Kitch. And on Facebook, Constantino's Kitchen.
And thank you for tuning in, and thank you to Miss Susie for filling
My
in.
peanut
at the-
gallery comments?
Yes, yes.
Got it.
They were enlightening.
Sure.
And we'll be back next week, next Tuesday at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. Same channel, so join us then. And thanks again for tuning in.
That's a little out of your league, don't you think? The whole salmon.
You do have a backup plan though, right? You know, like catering. Do they even like fish?
Make your meals, even the ambitious ones, come out just right.
You're actually enjoying this, aren't you?
The power, finesse, and ease of Wolf cooking instruments
Okay.
leave no room for doubt.
You've changed.